Good day, viewers out there. My name is Enoch Afanifune of GMB TV. On today's program of Personality of the Week, we have a very distinguished personality that is very known in the society. He is Comrade Prince Augustine Amechi Igumbo. Comrade Amechi Igumbo is a very known figure in transportation business. Is also, like every other human being in Nigeria, a media-friendly personality. Today, we have him on the program, Guest of the Week. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Before we go on with the program, let me also tell you that Comrade Amechi Igumbo is the Deputy State Chairman of National Union Delta State Union of
Management of Public
Motor Parks, and also he is the headsman of Eka South Branch D.
Yeah, branch.
Sir, you are welcome.
Yes.
If I may ask, sir, how would you like to be addressed after all these address? Any other?
I'm a commoner like you. So I'm usually addressed as you are addressed.
Okay, sir.
Except when we get to the church. In the Christendom, then we have titles.
Yeah, thank you.
In the church. That is just by the way.
Okay, I think.
But I'm not the title chief.
That you are a prince.
Yes, let's stay that way.
A crown prince.
Let's say that way.
That is very good. Okay, let us start with our question number 2. Sir, coming from the sector that was previously assumed to be a volatile sector, what is your contribution to the state of the nation? I mean the insecurity in the nation.
The insecurity in the nation, everybody know. The thing is getting out of hand. It's unlike before. Because for now that we have several groups that are springing up, calling themselves whatever names or what they are, like just like Malaysia, like bandits, henchmen, and so forth, Boko Haram, and so forth. So the thing is getting out of hand in Nigeria, and we are only asking that the federal government to beef up the security of the nation, because there's no way where somebody can live in a society and you don't have trust and belief on the government itself. That's just it, because it's the primary duty of the government to secure lives and properties.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let's. With people like you in the system, can you tell the viewers if the National Union of Road Transport Workers and Employers Association is completely rid of bad eggs, like what you used to experience of the?
No. Whatever name you call it, whether National Union or this Delta State Management, because we metamorphosed from National Union to this Delta State Management Committee due to some little problem that we have within the leadership of the National Union. But the thing is a reformed group. We are not known for banditry or for tyranny. We are refined. We are modified. I don't know the language to use that you can understand. And what I'm trying to say is that it is not as it used to be, that the common name they called them before as Aburu. It's no longer Aburu. We are past across that stage.
That is where I'm really coming.
We are across that stage. We are no longer addressed as that. Yes. You can see in our groups now, you see people who are learned, read to the letter. We have graduates, master's degree graduates.
That is why I say all in people like you
all in the system. Yes. So it's not as it used to be before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sir, if you have your ways, or as a citizen, what solution can you prefer to those in authority? That is the leadership of the three arms of government as a panacea. That is solution to ending these security challenges ravaging the land.
It is only a plea. A plea. The plea we have for them is to plead to them that they should beef up or add up a little bit to what they are doing, to at least to suit the request of the masses, because they were voted for a particular thing, and what they have voted, what they were voted for, they should at least two-thirds of whatever they have be their manifest, and walk up to that level, at least to make people have a little bit confidence and trust in them. Thank you.
Okay. All right. As an esteemed personality in your kingdom, Abo, will you say the youths there are ready to take up mantle of leadership in the absence of this generation of leadership in Abo Kingdom in particular, and in the nation at large?
Really, in every society, we look up to the youth. The youth they are the future of our tomorrow. Then we can't begin to say that we are discrediting them. No matter whatever that is happening for today now, there are still some good ones among them that they can reckon with. So leadership does not end by one particular person, because the world will continue without the best man. So as time progresses, other ones that are better than whatsoever that we're having now will emerge. That is it.
The question is, sir, are the youth actually doing it?
That is what I mean. I mean that among all, in 20, there was Jesus Christ, who made just only 12 selection. There was one Judas. There was one Judas among 12. That Judas, as careful and whatsoever that Jesus Christ was as he was when he came, he selected 12, and there was Judas among them. So doesn't mean that there was Judas, doesn't mean that there are no righteous people again. Yes. So the youth are up to the task. We have hope for them for tomorrow. Yes.
Okay. Coming back to that security situation, what should be the expectation of the masses from the royal fathers to promote peace in our society?
What are their roles? The roles of royal fathers to go out there, gather information, sensitize it with other the citizens, I mean the community at large. I think, which I know for today, that the day of our kingdom is on that class. It's not a third class chief; it's a first class chief, a traditional ruler. And we all know very well. One of the topmost and first class chief. He's going out there to source for the better things for us, and whatever good he is able to get in touch with, he comes down home here to let us know, be aware of what next, or what the next step to follow. And they are playing their role very, very, very. He's playing his role very nice. Yes.
The governor is from a Kalant. When asked to look into his course sheet, has he successfully delivered enough of his promises?
Yes, for his promises. You know, the man is a man of little words. He talks less than do more. He has even overscored, if we want to go to that area in terms of infrastructural development, youth empowerment, and road constructions, and so on and so forth. He has done so much, and let me tell you emphatically, that he is not a person that is so self-centered. Whatever he's doing is decentralized. He so spread his hands into other local government, not emphasizing on his own local government.
What's happening here? So is it
Anything that is happening within the area here is happening in almost every other local government that you go to. Even better, much better. When you go to Asaba, for today now, Asaba has no look of a state capital before now. But for today, we can beat our hands on our chest to tell people that Asaba is the capital of Delta State. So I give him these kudos. I feel, I still pray that God, with the little time that is still remaining, let God still help him now to do more for us.
all right? This view that politics is a dirty game keeps on resonating. Everywhere you go, you hear this story. It's a long-aged adage that politics is a dirty game. In the light of that, is it right to ask you as a citizen and as a Christian whether politics should be left for those who made it dirty?
You see, when you say politics is a dirty game, it amazes me. Politics itself is not dirty, but the people that are playing the politics are dirty.
Thank you.
That is what they mean. So that is the same thing I told you at the initial stage, that among 20, there must be
A Judas.
well, there's no how you can overrule that. Politics is the best. It's the best system of people now making the government to acknowledge your areas. That is what the areas represent. But when you begin to use it as a selfish something just to acquire wealth for yourself and your families or your generation unborn, that is where it becomes dirty. It becomes dirty when you are not utilizing the chances and the opportunities you have as a politician. When you are a politician, you use your position judiciously, use it to enrich and enhance the livelihood of the people around you and your environment. That is just it all. It's not dirty, but the individuals that play the game are dirty. So some few ones. That is it.
We still go back to politics. What roles are Christians expected to play to make things look better as politicians?
The Christians are doing their best, sensitizing people in every street you get to now. There must be a church, and then these churches are not just for sample. They preach gospel. They preach how, because we have to be a good citizen. Because if you are a good Christian, you must be a good citizen. That is just it. That is their role, and that is what they are doing. It is left for those that are hearing that they are speaking to adhere to whatever they are learning from the church.
I have been very, very interested in meeting you already, and as a businessman, what is the business entity of this Nigeria? How is it like now? For us to
Business is not what it used to be before because of the poor value of our naira. Our naira is no longer valid, and for that now, when any business that you are doing now, it must reflect. It must surely reflect, because the goods you buy today for 10 naira, before the next day, there will be an inflation. Not only 100% inflation, if more than that, you will observe it. So that is the only thing that is killing business in Nigeria for today. Nigeria entire, not Delta alone, nor my local community. It is a wide issue. The devaluation of naira is the thing that is affecting almost every business, including transportation, because the vehicle parts are no longer easy to purchase. Then even when you want to buy fairly used vehicles to operate, the ones that are sold for 1 million naira just 3 years ago now is for about 6 million naira for today. So it becomes too impossible for people now to renew their vehicles. So these are the areas that I feel that the business are not growing the way it is supposed to.
So, you have a state of the art, you have a park, and I was there. I think I remember sometime about 2 years ago, I did an interview on that very place. And you have state of the art facilities there. What future plan do you have to make that place to look like what we see in other areas?
The actual fact is that really I have the foresight of building that park. But the only problem that the thing is suffering now is finance. As time goes on, when I'm able to raise a little fund to upgrade the place, you will see whatever you are seeing in other areas that you admire, you will see them here. But for today, you see whatever the requirements of the motor park, they are all there. We have public toilet facilities here. We have passengers waiting room there, and so on and so forth. So these are the things that I think is required of a motor park, and all those things those facilities are there for today. But there are still a lot of things that needs to be done, so that by the special grace of God, when we are able to finance it, I think we'll know what to do. Because the only problem that we have is finance. If we have finance, we can carry it up to the letter, to the level we want to carry it to. There's nothing too bad in upgrading it to like that of God is Good Motors, for example, the Degbe Motors and so on and so forth. We have the intention, but for today, because there is no finance, we must start from somewhere. Definitely, that is also what is happening.
How is the patronage there?
By the special grace of God, the people are turning up. They are beginning to know the place as an organized motor park. It's not like where you go that you see people dragging bags and luggages from people. There's orderliness here. So there are people with those things applied. I think people are admiring and they are coming to patronize us. Thank you.
Okay. Very, very lastly, let us go a little bit into your Christian faith. I know you are a Christian. I know that. And in a very few days' time, your church will be hosting the Diocesan Synod. And what are your expectations that after the synod that will turn around the fortune of the church and the people of that Christian life?
The church itself, we thank God for today. The church is progressing as usual, and for your good information, the bishop we have now have so far upgraded the diocesan the diocese, so it has transformed it into a different thing that we never expected. So what we do is to assist and see how we can support his moves and effort. That is just it, or no other thing. And we pray that after this particular time, that better things will come up. We are praying that government should support people in the church. Government should support them because they are the people that can give out generously. When I say give out generously, not giving out with expectations, giving out generously. So if you are empowering people, Christians, you will empower. When you empower one Christian, you are empowering a multitude. So that is the only area that I think I will stop at.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Viewer out there, it has been very much interesting talking with Prince Comrade Augustine Amechi Igumbo. Like I've earlier introduced him, he's a popular personality in the land, and it's a good thing, sir. We have you on this program. We expect you should expect more of these invitations. We will be talking more about topical issues and your general view of the society. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having
Thank you for honoring.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Go on, when